Ethanol is a highly effective poison. It damages internal organs, impairs motor function, and creates severe chemical dependency. By the strict laws of natural selection, any genetic inclination to consume a toxic substance should have been aggressively weeded out of our DNA. Yet humans have been brewing, fermenting, and pouring drinks for over 10,000 years. We incorporate it into weddings, religious ceremonies, state dinners, and casual weekends. Researchers like Edward Slingerland argue that our taste for intoxication might have served as a vital tool during a critical turning point in our history, the birth of settled civilization. Evolution ruthlessly cuts behaviors that threaten an organism's ability to survive and reproduce. If a habit this dangerous persists across millennia, it likely delivers a significant survival advantage that we are only beginning to quantify. For decades, the scientific consensus called our love of alcohol a hijack. The idea is that alcohol accidentally triggers the brain's pleasure centers, a biological glitch, similar to how humans engage in masturbation. Both provide the chemical rewards of reproduction without actually creating offspring. But natural selection ignores masturbation because it poses zero existential threat to the species. Alcohol, however, regularly kills people. If it were a useless glitch, natural selection would have eliminated the vulnerability long ago. Another popular explanation is the hangover or drunken monkey theory. This suggests early humans evolved to track the scent of ethanol to find overripe, calorie-rich fruit. Under this theory, modern drinking is just a leftover foraging instinct. The problem here is time. Human digestion adapts quickly. Adult humans evolved the specific enzymes to digest cow's milk in just a few generations. If seeking out fermented fruit was purely harmful once we settled down, the drive would have disappeared as we moved away from the forest. The hijack and hangover theories fall apart because they assume drinking serves no real purpose. But humans began consuming alcohol right around the time we stopped wandering in small bands and started building dense, complex agricultural societies. Looking at this diagram of the human brain, the highlighted area is the prefrontal cortex, or PFC. This structure gives us our ability to calculate risk, delay gratification, and plan for the future. It is the core engine of human reasoning. You can think of the prefrontal cortex like Apollo, the Greek god of order and self-control. It operates on strict rules and careful analysis. The direct opposite of rational control is Dionysus, the Greek god of wine, emotion, and chaos. Dionysus represents the uninhibited, collaborative side of human nature. The challenge for early humans is that a brain ruled entirely by the prefrontal cortex is deeply suspicious. A highly rational, calculating primate will always prioritize its own immediate survival over cooperating with strangers. This 2x2 grid maps out the classic prisoner's dilemma. If you follow the animated arrows of pure logic, you'll see they inevitably converge on mutual betrayal. When two hyper-rational individuals meet, mathematical logic tells them that trusting the other person is too big a risk. To successfully merge into large cooperative societies, humans utilized mechanisms that could temporarily dampen their inner Apollo and bypass their own selfish logic. The most accessible, easily produced way to take the prefrontal cortex offline is to consume ethanol. This chart tracks the biological timeline of intoxication. Notice how euphoria spikes almost immediately, mimicking a stimulant's energy, but shortly after, cognitive control plunges downward. The brain stops processing fear and consequences. This state mimics a child's mind, open to accidental discoveries that drive innovation. Humans are exceptionally good at detecting lies, which makes forming new alliances difficult. But when a group consumes a mild toxin together, cognitive control weakens across the board. The ability to deceive drops, authentic emotions surface, and mutual trust becomes possible. Communal drinking rituals likely functioned as a stabilizing force, helping early humans navigate the friction of living with strangers and forging the social bonds seen in large-scale cultures. The crucial detail here is that alcohol evolved as a social technology. Its safety has historically relied on strict communal guardrails and group rituals. In southern European countries like Italy and Spain, alcohol is tightly woven into daily life. It is consumed with food, surrounded by family, and normalized from a young age. In these environments, the rates of alcoholism remain relatively low. Contrast that with northern drinking cultures. Here, consuming alcohol is often the primary event rather than an accompaniment. Distilled spirits are the norm, binge drinking is expected, and as a result, alcoholism rates climb significantly. When you remove the protective context of a shared meal and social expectation, alcohol stops functioning as a communal bonding tool. Stripped of those ancient guardrails, its toxicity takes over. In the United States, a culture built on extreme individualism has systematically dismantled the traditional communal environments where drinking safely occurs. Sprawling suburban neighborhoods separate people by vast distances. The local pub or communal gathering space is often replaced by a mandatory drive, making casual, social drinking highly inconvenient. Instead, alcohol is frequently purchased from a local convenience store to be consumed at home, alone. This private, isolated model turns a social lubricant into a solitary coping mechanism, accelerating the risk of severe abuse. Humanity evolved along this substance for thousands of years. It exists in our history not as a casual commodity, but as an ancient technology that requires a community to wield safely.